The unspoken rule in street photography is go wide and get close. Those lenses are considered authentic. The 85 is usually dismissed as too long and lazy for street work. But lenses aren't genre-bound. They're just tools. If the tool gives you a different way of seeing, why limit yourself? The 85mm offers something unique and completely changes your approach. People dismissing it assumes filling the frame with one subject and relying on bokeh, which oversimplifies its potential. So today, I want to show you why the 85 can open a new chapter in your photography journey. Let's dive in. First, the 85mm builds mindful framing. The biggest benefit of the 85 is that it forces you to slow down. It's often misunderstood as a shortcut, the easy way out. You're just standing far away and letting the lens do all the work. But it is far from that. Unlike traditional street photography lenses, running and gunning or spraying and praying is near impossible. The frame is so tight that you can't get consistent results with frantic, quick compositions. You can't zone focus and shoot from the hip to get it vaguely right and make it work. You have to wait, predict, and frame meticulously. Because of this, I found that I shoot less photos when I am out with it. This deliberate pace sharpens your anticipation skills, and where you focus and nailing that focus becomes more important. When I shoot with a 35 or 50, I am okay with missing focus by a bit, and where I focus is a bit less important because subject separation is not that strong. But with the 85, missed focus is harder to salvage. So it gets me thinking about where I should be focusing to get the best looking image. Do I want to focus on this person closest to me? Or do I want to make this person my foreground and blur it out? It really has the power to draw the eye to a specific spot. So it gets me exploring different options in a given situation. And because the frame is tighter, every element you include matters more. So I'm much more intentional about how I frame my shot and what I include in the frame. It builds discipline. It makes you work harder for each photo. Filling the frame with one subject will end up predictable. So instead, I look for relationship between multiple subjects at different distances, something only the compression of the 85 can reveal effectively. With this lens, you don't feel the pressure of being seen because you have some distance, so you feel less pressured and you can take all the time you need. The 85mm doesn't just slow you down, it makes every decision count. Next, the 85 heightens the visual weight of each element. The compression flattens the scene in a flattering way. Backgrounds feel more dense, stacked, and dramatic. This makes cityscape photos feel intimate even when shot from a distance. And I'm not talking about just being lazy and shooting from afar. When I take a distant landscape or cityscape photo with a 35 or 50, I felt a bit disconnected. We all had experiences where we see something we like with our eyes, but because the subject was a bit further away, it appeared small and had no significance in the photo. But with this lens, the compression makes small subjects or distant details prominent. Also, the compression allows me to stack elements nicely in the frame. The background feels much more organized, so I often focus on the background and make all the elements close to me foreground layers. You also start seeing layers differently. With wide lenses, you usually build foreground, midground, and background elements that are close with each other in terms of distance. But with the 85, you build compositions with depth across distance. So when I am trying to layer my frame, my eyes are busier because I am covering more distance. It makes the process fun because so many elements across various distances can be a significant element in your frame. Basically, anything goes. Your photos become more dramatic because foreground and background get exaggerated. Isolation is also a great power of the 85. Even at moderate apertures like f4 or 5.6, you can instantly draw the eyes of the viewer to your intended subject. And each aperture differs greatly in how your image looks, so I become more intentional with the aperture setting as well, using it not just for blur, but to manage separation and storytelling. If you choose to shoot wide open, it can completely blur out the background, which is harder to achieve with wider lenses. This isolation enhances emotion. Lastly, it makes you see the world in a new way. This lens reshaped how I see. Not just how I frame, but what I notice. I was much more used to the 35 and the 50, but those focal lengths took little adjustment because their field of view is very close to the human vision. And what came with that is I didn't have to change the way I see or my approach to photography. But the 85mm is very different from those lenses. The characteristics of the focal length is much more obvious. I don't chase the same things I did with wider lenses. I look for details, layers at a distance, or even simple textures. I found that the unique perspective of the telephoto gave my photos a slight abstraction when I photographed the mundane, like shooting brick walls with light pockets on them. Diagonal compositions feel more dramatic because the compression exaggerates the sense of depth. The same location looks new again because the 85 lets me frame things differently. With wider lenses, because you can put more in the frame, you quickly run out of different ways to shoot the same subject. But with the crop of the 85, it lets me explore the same subject in more ways. I started revisiting places I thought had nothing more to offer. The 85mm doesn't just change your photos, it rewires your visual brain to find beauty in the overlooked. The 85mm is not my default lens, but when I feel stuck, the 85 resets my vision. It reminds me that photography isn't just about capturing what's in front of you, it's about how you choose to see it. So what's your experience with the 85? Love it? Hate it? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this video, then hit the like button and subscribe. It keeps the channel going. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.